Good evening, Matthew.
Hello.
How are you doing?
I'm doing well. How about you?
I'm well, thank you. We're just waiting for others to join. You're the first one.
Makes sense. A little early yet.
That's okay. I'm always awkwardly early for everything. So
Same. I am definitely the same way.
my name is Erica. I'm the chair of the task force. So welcome. I'm glad you could
Nice
join us
meeting you.
tonight.
Yeah.
And I'm actually glad all of our tech is working tonight too. So that's a joy.
That's always one of the bigger headaches. How was your day though?
Oh, it was very hectic. But thank you for asking. How about yourself?
Not quite as hectic as yesterday. Yesterday with the snowstorm, it was a little fun.
So you're a UA intern. What's that?
Oh, UA United Academics, the faculty union for UVM.
Oh, nice, nice.
I
So
just I always have that in my name because most of the teams, like Zoom meetings I join are for United Academics, so I just leave it in at this point.
Oh, so are you a Barry resident?
No, I am actually a Winooski resident, but I am for one of my classes, we are looking at the homelessness, like people experiencing homelessness community, and we want to help out, but we also have to gather information.
Oh, fun.
Mhm.
So this should be an interesting, a little interesting meeting for you. So,
Yeah. One other person from my group should be joining us, but we'll see. They have to drive first.
oh, that sucks. Well, at least it's a nice evening to drive. I looked at when I was driving down here, I saw it was only like 50 degrees. So,
Yeah. I was surprised to see that it was warm enough to melt snow. I was expecting it to be pretty cold this week.
well, it's Vermont, so who knows?
That's true. Oh, I moved from Wisconsin and I expected the weather to be a little bit more consistent here than Wisconsin, but it's like the same.
Yeah, that's what I've worked with some folks that have moved from Wisconsin here or transient from Wisconsin, and they're like, yeah, it's about the same here. And
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, interesting. So,
I'd say
I
it's a
work,
little bit less windy here. That's like the only difference.
yeah, folks that I've talked to from Wisconsin say it's a little flatter there, so it gets a little windier, but we
Yeah,
have the mountains here, so it distorts the wind. Anybody who's watching this recorded video will be very interested in talking about the demographics.
that's true.
But yeah, my 9 to 5, if you want to call it a 9 to 5, I work at a drop-in center. So
Oh,
yeah, so I meet a lot of folks from a lot of different areas. So
I
which
can
is
definitely
interesting.
do that. Oh, which drop-in center, if you don't mind
I
me
work at
asking?
Another Way in Montpelier.
That is actually one of the two groups that we're like studying specifically.
Yeah, I'm also on the Montpelier homelessness task force, and we had some of your group at the other task force meeting I was in today. So my life is meetings.
Seems like it, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so yeah, I'm welcoming you to our we're in the public safety building in Barry, so which
Okay.
is where, yeah. So I don't know what you can see. I think I'm blurred in the background. But there's a big map of Barry behind me. So you might actually hear if they get a call, you'll hear that in the background.
Hmm?
So if they get a emergency call, you'll hear it go off in the background. So
Oh, yeah, yeah. How often do you get emergency calls?
oh, this since I'm in the public safety building, it's whenever they get an emergency call, but that's when
Oh,
we have night community meetings, that's where we're housed.
okay.
It's fun. I like it here. Sometimes I get the interrogation room, which is always fun. Right now I'm in their training room.
Is the interrogation room your favorite one to be in, or is it just interesting?
It's just interesting because I'm like, ooh, I'm in an interrogation room.
I think I would have the same reaction.
Hold on 1 minute. I'm gonna mute myself.
No worries.
I thought that was important. They were just looking for my car warranty.
Oh,
But I'm like, oh, I'm getting a call at this hour. It must be somebody from my task force.
oh yeah, I can see that. It's I don't know about you, but it feels like spam calls have gotten so bad, like in the past few years.
Oh yeah, yeah. But also sometimes I'm on call for work. So, if I get an unknown number, I pick it up anyway and I'm like, whatever.
That's how my dad is. He has to pick up for numbers he doesn't recognize, but like half of them are spam anyways.
Yeah. I assure you other people are joining.
Oh, I assume so. We still have 6 minutes. Usually people
Yeah.
don't join until like a minute or two before.
Yeah.
Can you hear traffic in my background?
No,
Okay, good.
I heard something, but I didn't really, register what it was. It's all good.
I think it was the big semi that drove by.
Could be.
Since you're 9 to 5,
Oh,
technically. Oh,
somebody else coming on. Go ahead.
since you're 9 to 5, technically, do you like adjust your hours when you have meetings this late so that you can like come in later the next day? Oh,
Not at all. I just admitted somebody. I don't know where he went. There's Steve. Hello, Stephen. I don't know what Steven's doing. No, I don't have that luxury of adjusting hours.
that ooh, that's gotta make for some long nights and early mornings.
It does. Hello, Steve. How you doing?
I'm here.
You're here.
Yeah, I lobbied today, and that wipes me out. And hello, Matthew. You're a United. What?
Uh, United Academics intern?
You're an intern with United Academics, which brings you here because.
Oh, I'll just change that so people get less confused. But usually I just join Zoom meetings for United Academic stuff, so I never think to change my name to not include
I
it.
I am the person who organized that union.
Really?
Yes, I am. I was working for the American Association of University Professors. I ran their collective bargaining program for 23 years and
Stephen, your audio cut out.
organizing model that led to the affiliation by
Cutting out.
AFT last June.
Oh, I only heard like half of that.
Stephen, you're cutting out.
I said that I developed with an AFT MAT rep starting 20 years ago the joint organizing model that led last June to the affiliation of the AUP by the AFT. I'm a
So
big deal.
yeah, so you've got to have a lot of fun stories from that time.
I have stories right up to the present because I'm not doing any consulting for them right now. But I when I moved here, I was I was the Caitlin predecessor.
Really?
Yeah, from 2002 to 2018, I was the part-time staff person to UA.
Interesting. Okay. Well, it's nice to officially. I think I've heard like bits and pieces about you, but not a ton.
Right. And I'm glad sure, but this has nothing to do with that. But that's fine. Anyway, hi Erica.
Hi, Stephen. Hi, Christina.
Hi. Hi, Matthew. Hi, Steve.
Hello.
Hi.
We're
Well,
gonna
we're
give
gonna.
folks, we're gonna give folks a couple more minutes. I know, Stephen, I only heard from Philip. I haven't heard from anybody else.
I heard from Brooke.
Okay, is she coming?
They're both coming, which will give us a quorum. But officially, since Lauren is not listed in the city, then we only have five, and the quorum would be three.
Okay, so I'll give Philip two more. Oh, there's Beth. We're having a party tonight.
Yeah. So I think the first thing we may want to do is have these guests introduce themselves, tell us about them and why they're here, and try not to bore them for the next hour.
Oh, oh, it's Philip. Philip is Beth tonight. Hi, Philip.
Philip, the two most common words in Zoom are "you're muted," followed immediately by "oh shit."
Stephen, we're being recorded.
I'm totally comfortable with that. Let the whole world hear it. It's one of my better lines.
All right, I'm gonna give Brooke 2 more minutes. And Colby has not contacted me, nor has she shown up. So we're if she comes in, she comes in.
Right. And when we start, I will want to adjust the agenda.
Correct. So we'll just knock her. Well, I'll get to that when we get to that.
Yep.
Okay, 1 more minute and then I'll start. Because you know how I am with meetings. It's late. We all worked the full day. And I don't think we have many decisions to make tonight. It's mostly discussion points.
I agree until the bigger issue gets resolved.
Well,
So,
we have a full house tonight. Welcome, welcome. So it is 7:02. I'm going to call this meeting to order. We have a quorum.
Hi, everyone.
Hi, Brooke. Long time no see, folks. We have no technical issues. We have no housing issues tonight. I am excited. I'm going to call this meeting to order. First off, I'm going to welcome any guests we have tonight. I am the only one locally, so I'm just going to introduce myself. My name is Erica Rail. I am the chair of the Barry Homelessness Task Force. Sorry, wrong meeting. And welcome any guests we have tonight. Let's just do a quick round of introductions and starting with the Homelessness Task Force. I've already done myself, so I'll just popcorn it out and start with Philip.
yeah, my name is Philip Morris, and I'm a member of the Homelessness Task Force.
I'll popcorn it out again to Steve.
Hi, everybody. I'm Steve Finner, and I'm the vice chair of the task force.
And Brooke.
Good evening, everyone. Part of the Homelessness Task Force and Community Officer City Police Department.
And Samantha, one of our guests.
Hi, I'm Samantha Hiscock. I'm a local landlord and, we've got some transitional housing units and things like that.
Welcome. And I'm trying to read it. Christina.
Hi, everyone. I'm Christina Greer. I am a student at UVM in the MSW program. I'm actually doing my internship at Washington County Mental Health at the early childhood. And I am here with my colleague Matthew. We're doing a community inquiry project where we and our group selected the unhoused in rural Vermont. So we are here to learn more about the issues that impact the unhoused and specifically street outreach with the unhoused. So we'd love to, we're just here to learn and hear what issues impact them, and would love to talk with anybody outside of this meeting if they have the chance. Thank you.
Welcome. And Matthew, I got to know Matthew a little bit before the meeting, but could you introduce yourself?
Yep, my name is Matthew Brennick. I'm also a student at UVM, working on a master's for social work, and ditto to everything Christina said.
Well, welcome. So any adjustments to the agenda?
Yes, I sent everybody H132, which is a proposed, it's in the legislature, homeless bill of rights. And I'll walk you through it quickly when we put that onto the agenda. Let me sidebar very quickly with Christina and Matthew. Before I became a faculty union organizer and organized the UVM faculty union, I was a sociology professor, and I would be available to chat with you for as long as you want to, because you can take the teacher out of the classroom, but you can't take the classroom out of the teacher. But I was filling Matthew in on my 23-year career, which culminated with organizing the UVM faculty union. Thank you for the interruption.
So Stephen, and so I haven't heard from Colby, and I'm assuming that she got some extra hours tonight, and I'm gonna get in touch with her. So I'm going to put H132 instead of on item 5, if that's okay, even though that's technically a new agenda item. And then we'll just hit the ground running from there. How's that sound?
Good for me.
All right. We have a really full house tonight. All right. So welcome, Miriam. Oh, Miriam's still connecting. Welcome, Miriam. We've already done introductions. Miriam, would you like to do a quick intro?
Hi, I'm Miriam.
Nice to meet you, Miriam. So that's adjustments. Any public comment thus far?
I just have a quick, completely unrelated question.
Sure, Sam.
How's Gabriel doing?
I'll give a little backstory for those of you who don't know. Gabriel was a staff member at the Montpelier Overflow Shelter. He was this is really sad. He was he was stabbed 10 times by a person who came to the overflow shelter. He was Rick DeAngelis' son. Rick DeAngelis is the director of Good Samaritan Haven. Gabriel has, since he returned home this morning, yesterday morning, he is recovering at home. He is expected to make a full recovery. So please send good vibes, good thoughts and prayers, whatever may be. But he's home and
That's awesome.
yeah, he's doing really good. So, we all send, whatever your faith allows for Gabriel and his family. But it was an isolated incident, and measures are being taken so that does not happen again.
Yeah, I didn't realize he was Rick's son, and I'll be sending an email later.
Thank you.
But is Miriam gonna tell us 2 sentences about himself? And Brooke, you're now twins.
I don't want to put too much pressure on folks if they're new and just observing or coming in, so that's all good. I'll any other public comment? Hearing and seeing none, I'll move to the next. Approval of minutes from previous meeting. I know they were sent out. It's been a while since we've met. I'm hoping people have read them. They were very good. A motion to approve the minutes.
So moved.
A second. I see Phyllis said.
Second.
I'll second the motion.
All right, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All right,
Aye.
pass. All right. Stephen, would you like to take it away with H-132?
Yes, very briefly, and I'm gonna send Matthew and Christina my contact info, and I can send it to you, or you can just go on the legislative website and grab H-132. It is called the Homeless Bill of Rights, and it basically adds homeless status. I think it may say housing status, it may say homeless, whatever, to the laundry list of non-discriminatory items under Vermont law for a whole variety of things. So along with, with age, with national origin, with race, but they don't use race anymore, fortunately, and similar concepts. It just lists a whole bunch of things which says that you cannot discriminate with respect to housing, to jobs, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. It's an excellent bill. It was drafted by Representative Tom Stevens of Waterbury, and it has been assigned to the House General Affairs Committee, which is chaired by Representative Tom Stevens of Waterbury. So it obviously will come up for hearing, it will pass, and it will go to the House floor. When, of course, I don't know. Erica.
Yeah, I did read the bill, and I think it's a phenomenal bill. I did notice in the language, it talks about, when it comes to voting, when it comes to housing, great. One of the questions I had is, when it comes to getting identification, one of the things I often see is it going to put money aside so that when somebody is housing insecure can get their identification?
I think that's an excellent question. And what I will try to do because Wednesday is my day to go to the legislature as a volunteer lobbyist. I will try to track when it's going to come up, but I think you should feel free just to send Tom a note. And because obviously the purpose of it coming up into the committee is to make amendments as appropriate. And he might be prepared just to do that if you send him a note and make a suggestion.
And my follow-up question to that is, I know that like when it comes to different areas such as getting services, does that mean that somebody would have to, would that still pertain to somebody being a Vermont resident or those types of things?
As I understand it from my reading, and I'm just like, yeah, I mean, I just, looked at it. It means that uh, your status with respect to housing homelessness should not impact any of the services available to any Vermont resident,
Mm-hmm.
because that's programs, unless specifically exempted, programs are always designed for Vermont residents. So that would be my take on it. But please don't let me be the legal interpreter of that bill. Just Tom is a very accessible state rep.
Mm-hmm. No, I just asked
Uh,
all these questions because these are things that come up in my day-to-day, such as people
Absolutely.
need an address or something. I think it's a great bill, but it's like one step to,
I think you're the perfect person to have this discussion with them because you're living it every day in your work.
please don't let me hog the discussion. So anybody else have questions?
No, I don't.
I would suggest uh, that we contact, if we're in favor of it passing. Uh, I'm not sure that we need or we should take a position as a task force. Maybe we ought to let that. I don't know. That's something we may want to kick around, but certainly as individuals, we can contact uh, our reps uh, to lobby for its passage, as well as uh, our 3 state senators for Washington County when it goes over to the Senate.
Miriam, you have a question?
Well, I guess it's not really a question, but you were talking about addresses for IDs. And
So not really, sorry, not addresses for IDs, but if somebody's looking for services, they need an address. So if like somebody's getting food stamps, they need an address. Or if somebody's getting their, hold on a minute, my brain's kind of foggy. It's been a long day.
I get it.
if-
So like, yeah, like people need services. Isn't that one of the reasons people like another way lets people use their address?
Correct, but if somebody's not using another, like a service has an address to use, they wouldn't be able to get services.
Okay.
Or for example, if somebody doesn't have needs like a birth certificate, they wouldn't be unless they had some kind of federal ID, like a library card, they wouldn't be able to send away for their birth certificate.
Okay, thanks.
No problem.
So I guess that's The problem, if we want to endorse it as a task force, if we wait a month, chances are it'll be through the process by then.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And I don't have strong feelings one way or another. Do you know what the Montpelier task force is doing with this, if anything?
The Montpelier Task Force is not looking at this currently.
I haven't read the bill, but it doesn't seem like it's a very controversial topic or is going to require a lot of funding or anything. So it seems like it's an easy win per se.
That's my take on it, Samantha. Samantha, can I put you on the spot for a minute? Just as a landlord, what do you think this says as a landlord?
Which part of it?
Just you can't, I know that you're a good landlord and you really don't discriminate against folks that are homeless, but I'm just wondering, how would does this make you want, just as a landlord, discriminating against somebody who's homeless or whatnot?
Well,
Is that kind of a loaded question? I'm sorry.
well, no, it's just difficult because I rent, I mean, this is the demographic of tenant that I kind of regularly rent to. But I know that a lot of, so I'm not a great example to answer this question, but I know that a lot of landlords, do kind of ask for either, previous, current residents, whatever.
Mhm, mhm.
And not having addresses sometimes will hinder processes like, credit checks or criminal background checks, things like that. But yeah, so potentially I mean, I don't know. I mean, having an ID is the crucial part, because while I may not be checking prior addresses, I am checking for ID. So, and I have a tenant right now, he does not have an ID. And he hasn't been able to get one for various reasons.
Mhm.
So, I think having an ID is a very important thing.
Right, and I apologize for putting you on the spot because I know this is a population that you are very good and you're one of the good landlords. So thank you for that. I apologize.
Yeah, and sorry, I've got a screaming 4-year-old because it's bath time and he's grumpy.
Oh, no, you should take
Well,
your bath.
I just want to say, Samantha, I agree with your assessment completely. It should be an easy.
Yeah, I mean, having an ID is one of those basic things that it makes it very hard. I think not having an ID is more of a hindrance than not having an address, quite frankly.
So yeah, I mean, I tend to agree this probably isn't a controversial subject. But then I put on that however hat where, the hindrance to getting ID is the money aspect. I mean, sometimes it's just $10, but $10 is a lot of money to a lot of folks.
Yeah, I mean, I do know that Economic Services has they've paid for at least a few of my tenants to get IDs.
Mhm.
So I think that there are options out there.
Mhm.
But the ability to get an ID without an address is the crucial part.
Absolutely, absolutely. So yeah, I don't think this is a controversial bill. I have no problem contacting, our reps, Jonathan and Anthony, and saying, please rubber stamp this.
Yeah, I think it's pretty self-explanatory and obvious. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Moving right along. So now for a controversial topic, council reset. For those that don't know, the city council has thought long and hard, and I'm not sure where they really are on the the committee resets. For those that have applied to be on the committees, this is the reason that you haven't heard anything about being on committees. They are not accepting any new members because of the committee resets. Stephen, maybe you can talk about this a little bit better than I can. They would like to have the Barry City Homelessness Task Force placed with the Housing Task Force. Is that correct?
A little bit more complex than that. The proposal, by the way, is a proposal from the city manager. And council members and the mayor have not taken any public position uh, as of now. And the city manager made it clear that it was a proposal. And he would include the things that we do under a housing and community development task force, which is even a larger umbrella. But that was the original proposal 2 months ago. And quite frankly, I have no idea where he is. And as you know, I've pushed him and I haven't gotten much. However, I have been assured by one council member, and the mayor has also made hints that those committees that, like ours, have said, leave us alone, we're fine, are probably going to be left alone. But I have to underscore the word probably, and until it comes up for formal consideration by the council, either next week or the week after, who knows? Not going to be next week, of course, because it's town meeting week. Uh, we'll wait and see. As you know, I have lobbied these people rather heavily. You all signed off on the memo that I wrote, and we got positive responses to that from councilors Chambel and Councilor Stockwell, as well as Councilor Wozniak. Uh, the mayor gave a positive response to the substance. This does not, of course, guarantee that they're going to vote, but that would be the leaning. So, and also, we got emails of support from the Montpelier Homelessness Task Force and the Barry Interfaith Clergy. And I think the Barry Interfaith Clergy was a good one. And we arranged that to the organizer for Vermont Interfaith, Melissa Batah, who lives in Barrytown. So that's where we are on that. Assuming that we will continue, we need to take a close look at our membership. Currently, there are 5 of us who are on the city manager's list as being members: Brooke, Philip, Erica, myself, and Chip Castle. Even though we have treated the library director, she's not on their list. And she also has not attended more than 4 meetings. And so we have that situation. And as people apply, we need to be mindful as to whether you are a resident of Barry City. Because politically, if a majority of task force members are not Barry City residents, that's going to make it more difficult to do things. So
Why?
this is something. Pardon?
Why? I thought it was not a requirement that you would be a city resident to be on the task force on any of the city committees.
You're right, and I just made a political reality statement. Politically, a majority should be residents of the city, and that's my political judgment, and I get that affirmed when I look at other task forces, because we're voters and we can lobby directly our own councilors. So I mean,
so to interrupt you, Stephen, I think the reason they're looking at where people are, Samantha, is because there are some committees that have people from Plainfield.
So again, I'm live in the town, but I'm a firm believer that if you either live in or own property in the city, you've got a vested interest. And while I may not be a very city voter, I am a very city taxpayer. So
Right.
Yeah,
that's-
I'm not, Samantha, when I say this is not something in which you and I have to debate it or agree or disagree. I'm saying the demonstrated political reality is this is the way it plays out, whether it should or not, doesn't matter because we have no control over that. And
But
that's just, you know, uh,
No,
and we'll deal with it as best we have to deal with it.
and again, this is what they're looking at with the resets. They're looking at, are are folks Berry City, Berry Town, where the majority is, et cetera, et cetera. We have said, leave us alone. We like our demographics. Don't mess with us.
But we definitely need to add members, and the two people most likely right now are Joseph Mueller, who is a resident, and you who are not, and the balance would be maintained. So I don't see a long-term problem, but I'm just saying this is something we should be aware of.
So so we put this up as a discussion. Steve and I have been discussing this a great deal. And the reason why we put this up as a discussion is because we want folks to be transparent and say, we're adamant saying we want to be as a committee, we want to be left alone. And is that still the way the majority feels and folks that have applied to be on the committee still feel?
And Samantha, following up your observation, I think it would be a good idea for you to send emails to the mayor and the manager as a property owner in the city of Barry, saying you think the task force should be maintained the way that it is.
I will certainly make it known that I feel that way when, when the time comes, when they're having that conversation again.
Well, now's the time. This is what I'm saying. Now's the time to be sending and lobbying so that when it comes up for discussion, you're on the record.
Okay.
Thank you, Samantha, because we've been trying to get you on our committee for a while. We've been lobbying for you. And hopefully we're not boring our guests too much. So onward.
This is called steady politics and the reality.
So onward and upward. Hopefully that discussion's done. Monetary donation. So it appears that Philip has acquired some monetary donations for us. And we don't, and which is awesome. But we don't have a place for them to go, which is sad.
I can elaborate.
Thank you.
So I sent out that letter I wrote. I don't know if anyone else did. I sent it to 15 churches. I got a response from the local Catholic church, and they wanted to sponsor a sleeping bag. And when someone sponsors something, that means they don't want to go out and shop it and donate the sleeping bag. So they sent me a $200 check. I mean, after the fact, I bought the sleeping bag and then they reimbursed me, which is fine on a small scale like that. But I just wondered going forward, if we do something where we solicit donations, but we're given cash in lieu of the donation, how it should be handled. I mean, I'm happy to keep doing this if, more things show up, but.
Yeah, and I also sent out some letters without getting any response. So.
But yeah, Eric, I said 1 out of 15, so it's good.
Yeah, I mean
Yeah.
that's awesome. People, So I didn't get a response from Clerk Dawes, unfortunately, about this. So and I was in another task force meeting, and they actually had like a nonprofit where they could keep money in another cash account, but we don't have that. We don't have another nonprofit. We're all private citizens. So I don't have an answer for this. Does anybody know of? I'm wondering if this is something we could ask the interfaith community for or something.
I think it would make sense to put on our agenda for our April meeting, and maybe do some research in the process where we would recommend people make contributions, and maybe even compile a list of recommended places. I mean, one of the things we're most aware of, and this is why I certainly appreciate Samantha's presence, uh, is because her interest goes beyond the city homeless. We all know that homeless is an area phenomenon and problem, and things that we might be able to do which recognize that. And I'm only thinking out loud here, and therefore don't know what I'm talking about. But I think it would make sense to really kick this around and come up with recommended places people can contribute. Uh, uh, including maybe, uh, the sleeping bags should be
Is an
going to a specific place. I don't know.
is an Amazon wish list an appropriate thing here? That way people could actually know that they're donating something tangible that would get used instead of money that they may not have any control over or know what it's actually going to be utilized for.
Oh my
This is
goodness.
why I think we should have a discussion, because I don't know what an Amazon wish list is, and
Oh
it's
my God, I use
exactly
it all
what
the time. I
well,
use
Oh.
it. There
it's one
is
of the
Love it.
things we could. Yeah, it's one of the things we could talk about.
yeah, I mean I'm sure you do you shop on Amazon? I mean it's pretty simple, but you just compile kind of a list of things that you want, and people can go on and purchase it for you, and then they be shipped directly to you.
So Christina put in the chat, United Way. Thank you. That's a great idea.
But
yeah.
if there was an Amazon wish list, we could put things on there like, bulk boxes of hand warmers or sleeping bags or, like just various different supplies.
Yeah,
And then,
like a tick repellent for those camping
right,
outdoors.
exactly.
Oh,
Things like that. A handful of tents, whatever, socks, all of the big, want items.
yeah. Oh my God, that's perfect. Okay. Perfect. Okay. Yeah, we can put that. Oh, perfect. Love it. Love it.
But that just seems like an obvious, easy way for people to give or to donate.
So
Yeah,
Miriam put in the
I
chat.
know
I'm gonna
of
cut you off, Stephen. I'm gonna cut you off. Miriam put in the chat, shop local, which is a great idea. And we can also do that, but I'm gonna have people refrain from the chat just because we're recording, and sometimes recording doesn't pick up all the chat. So if you have a suggestion, please raise your hand. Thank you. Okay, Stephen, sorry.
which reminds me, I will always save the chat at the end of our meeting, which would be helpful. But yeah, I know of other places that operate the same as Amazon wishlist. And the other place where I have seen requests for help, to which I've responded, is Front Porch Forum. People have posted on Front Porch Forum. I did my shopping and I forgot, and I don't have any money for kitty litter. So I contact Walmart, which I use all the time, and send an $8 box of kitty litter. I mean, that sort of thing. So there are a number of venues, and I think we want to kick it around and maybe come up with recommended places and procedures.
Okay, so I'm gonna segue because it seems like we're segueing into the next agenda item, which is priorities. Believe it or not, spring is coming. Oh, Stephen, what are you pointing
Phil,
at?
Phil has his
Philip?
hand up. Or had
I
his.
apologize, Philip. I didn't see that.
Oh, that's all right. I was just gonna say, back to your original thought, with partnering with a nonprofit, I think that's not uncommon, and we could probably approach a local church. They would essentially be like the financial officer of the money. So it would just be a pass-through for them. We would give the money to them, and then as we spent it, they would pass it back. I think the problem with something like the Amazon wish list, it would be more anonymous than I think what we were going for. We were making direct appeals for a specific item. And it just has a different feel to me. I don't think it's a bad idea. It's just a different idea. So, I mean, I think the pass-through is pretty common. If someone talks to a church, all they have to do is, they're essentially agreeing to make sure we're not spending the money on beer or cigarettes. I mean, yeah.
And
I think that's the kind of the draw of something like an Amazon wish list. I mean, I know that personally in my family, I've got teenagers, and for holidays, birthdays, whatever, I'm like, create a list, and it gets shared with me. But I know that my kids' teachers do the same thing. They create Amazon wish lists for things that they want in their classroom, whether it be new toys or books or whatever. And the link gets shared with the parents, and people just buy stuff. So knowing what people are giving motivates people to actually give over cash.
Brooke has her hand up.
And I think I agree with both of those ideas. And I feel like it's not like we have to choose either or. We could still have a church or a nonprofit identity, like hold the money for us or whatever. But we could also we could post on Front Porch Forum, or we could or do the Amazon wish list, because people, that might make it more I don't know, enticing to to everyone. Just a thought. Thank you.
No idea is bad. As long as
It's
folks.
free and doesn't take very long. I mean, you could literally create an Amazon wish list with a bunch of items in under 10 minutes and be able to share it, and it costs $0. So I think it's a pretty good return on investment in terms of time.
So I'm going to circle back to so I can close out this agenda item, then we can go to priorities. So would it be okay if I approached just because I have a relationship with the Barry Interfaith folks about, and I'm just going to put it out there, even though it sounds very criminal, about having them helping us with I'm just going to say money laundering, but it's not really money laundering. Just helping us with financials. Stephen.
I don't think, and yes, definitely look into it, but I think Philip is right. I don't think the interfaith group has an organization in which they have their own account or anything. And Philip's congregation already is doing this type of stuff, as is Heading United Methodist. So again, there are options out there, and you might want to speak to somebody. I'm willing to speak to Melissa Battah, the organizer for Vermont Interfaith, because they're very wrapped up in this. They have a committee task force on housing. Maybe she'll have suggestions. Again, I think we can really, over the next month, gather all sorts of ideas to kick around at our next meeting, because I like everything I'm hearing. And I agree with Brooke. It doesn't have to be either or. It's probably going to be this and this and this.
That if we want to, I'm just thinking, because the Berry interfaith, I'm just throwing it out there for the Berry group because they actually have, it's not just the Berry interfaith folks, it's also Good Sam, it's also Another Way, it's also, anyway. But we can talk to a lot of people, anybody we know who might have, might help us out. That's fine. I don't,
Following up on Philip's comments, any established 501c3 can pass through, including Another Way.
Yeah, anybody can do it. You just have to,
Yeah.
they just have to be willing to.
any connections? How about we all go to our connections and see who would do this for us? Let's just wrap that up and okay. Priorities, do we want to look at our priorities and see where we want to go from here? So I think one of our priorities would be, you know, one of our priorities is always just supply gathering or donation gathering, however you want to do it. And also, why I cap locked and not tab locked? No, I don't want to send this email. Do we have any other ideas for priorities coming up in the next few months? Stephen.
I wouldn't call it a priority, but I still have my passion, which I can't get off the ground, which this task force approved as a sanctioned activity, putting together a workshop, etc., on teaching the homeless how to use the bus system, since I am a non-driver user of the bus system. And so it's out there. It's really up to me to get it off the ground. But I'm just reminding us that it is one of our things that we said we were going to do.
Okay. Miriam, how long have you had your hand up? Because I just see it now.
Oh, I just put it up.
Go ahead.
Well, you mentioned priorities, and I'm thinking that with the motel program ending and Everybody Eats ending, that both shelter and food are pretty high on the priority list.
Mm-hmm. So I'm just trying to how
Where did we get with that with updating the resource list? Because once the warming shelters end for the season, and given the fact that the COVID SNAP benefits just ended today, I think that if we have an updated list, we could make sure that we're distributing prior to, well in advance of the shelters closing would be helpful.
okay, so I'm putting the resource list back on the priority list because the resource list is not complete.
Well, it's not complete and it's changed so much. And I think that, you know, I mean, we've essentially got 90 days left of the motel program before it's completely gone, unless something catastrophic
I
happens.
was under the impression it ended March 31st, but now I'm hearing April 15th.
June, I think June 30th. So maybe that's more than 90 days. I thought part of it had been extended to June 30th.
So you're both right. So they're looking, so it might be March, but the legislature, according to the paper today, they're looking at June.
And I think the Reach Up emergency rental assistance, that's going through the end of June.
That's correct.
Yeah.
And
which
then
is similar but separate.
yeah, and then that was going to be an updates, but I'll just jump ahead to that. So yeah, and then like if they extend the whole thing to June, they're going to have priorities to disabled families, elders, and there was another one.
Women suffer from abuse of some sort.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Domestic abuse. Thank you, Phil.
Mm-hmm.
But so yeah, it's all gobbledygook and confusing as always. Phil, you had your hand up as well?
Yeah, I thought it would be useful with the Berry Interfaith Group to contact them and see what they're anticipating and how they plan to react. Because prior to COVID, that is who took care of the homeless. They, we hosted meals. That's where the overflow shelters were. And now that there's the voucher system, I know churches have tried to reopen those programs and nobody comes. So I would imagine they're anticipating an onslaught after, everyone eats ends and people no longer have the motels. So maybe talk to them and see how we could help.
Okay. That's a good one. So transportation workshop, resource list, big, I just put big because it's big updates. Anything else for priorities, or is that a good, that's a good 4-month list? All right. We have Stephen.
This is just came across my screen. Dennis Labounty is the newly elected representative from Caledonia North, which is Linden, Wheelock, Sheffield, etc. He formerly was the executive director of the Vermont State AFL-CIO, which is how I came to know him. He mentioned to me today in the State House that he had gotten an op-ed or letter into the Caledonian Record on perception of the unhoused and homeless, and how he has gone through changing his beliefs and his view so that they are not the other. And I'm in the process of forwarding that to you all right now, just as something I think you would find of value to read.
Thank you, Stephen. All right, so we have 10 minutes left, and hopefully we didn't bore our guests. Updates. So I shared we already had some updates about the hotel program. Yeah, it's looking kind of bleak out there as always. We're doing our best. People, as far as I can tell you from the hotel standpoint, everything's full. Shelters are full. Domestic violence shelters are full. It's full. The overflow shelter in Montpelier is still going strong. But it's every night it seems like it's filling up. We have 8 to 10 people every night. But they're doing the best they can over there. And yeah, and we don't have an exact count of people on the streets right now. In Barry, the guesstimate is there's about 27. In Montpelier, it's 29. And in Berlin, it's 14. But those are people that are sleeping literally wherever they can on the streets. And again, we can never get an exact count because we literally don't know. But we're doing the best we can. But thankfully it's getting warmer out there. So, any other updates, parting thoughts, parting wishes? Bill?
Yeah, it's a question. warming shelter at the library, how well attended is that?
From my understanding, they have up to 3 people on a good day,
Okay,
but it's being used.
all right.
And it's one of those things where it's best to be had than not have.
Oh, absolutely. I was just curious. Yeah.
Yeah, it's I'm really proud of that. All
Yeah,
right.
there are also some other places that, although not designed for that, people are making use. For example, the Turning Point is such a place, and I'm sure there are others all over the area. Uh,
Yeah, there's I was able to go on Aired Out with JD Green. And because of that, I've been getting calls from folks that are on the streets. And it was actually really good to be on that program and promote, just promote the homelessness task force and to get the word out there that there are folks out there. But it's also heartbreaking that there are folks out there. Okay. Wrapping up.
Can I do a shameless plug for an apartment?
Please do a shameless plug.
Shameless plug. I've got a 3-bedroom apartment that is available now.
Oh,
right-
where's it
3-bedroom.
located?
It's on Harrington Ave in Barry.
Oh, that's near me.
Yes.
So you
So-
and
live near.
I know who was living there and bought a house on Lewis Street.
Yes.
Small town living once again. I wish I could go grab a bunch of friends and live. Look, one thing, please. As soon as we know, and I check the agenda for the city council meeting every week, as soon as we know the reset is on it, you're going to hear from me. And if it is all possible for you to attend that council meeting live or virtual, please try to squeeze it into your, I'm sure, busy calendar. But again, uh, one thing I've learned with 40 some odd years, 50 years in politics is you cannot lobby too much.
All right, that brings us to the end. We have 4 minutes left. Our next meeting is April 5th. April 5th. And hopefully everything will work again that day.
Yeah, worked fine today.
Fingers crossed it does it again. So, and for our guests, thank you for joining us. It's been a pleasure. Yeah, if you want to get in touch with me and talk, I don't know how to reach out to you, so
I could put my email in the chat, or is your info somewhere?
So hold on, why don't I put my info in the chat?
Okay.
So I'll give you my, if I can spell this late at night.
Yeah,
And Christina, I sent mine to Matt, who will send it to you.
great, thank you.
So that's my email.
Oh, wonderful. Okay, thank you. And yeah, thank you for having us, and thank you for
Yeah.
all the work you're doing.
Thank you. And all right, everybody, keep up the good work. Be safe out there. Thank you for everything you do.
Great. Thank you all.
Bye.
Good night.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Yep. Good night.
Bye,
Bye.
everyone.